Those who've been involved in the cattle industry a long time have a deep appreciation for how far we've come in terms of understanding animal health and having access to medications and antibiotics that can prevent or eliminate disease in livestock. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Dave Russell takes a look at the use of antibiotics in the beef industry in the second installment of our four-part series.
The reason we use antibiotics is to keep the cattle healthy. It's no different than, with your family. If someone's sick, you want them to get better. And that's the reason we do it here. And we try to use as little as we can to make them healthy.
For me, the bottom line is the responsibility that we've got as cattlemen to keep the animals as healthy as possible and keep them content and in a very healthy environment. And so to accomplish that, just like in a human environment, it takes vaccinations to do that, to prevent against sort of a proactive approach to diseases that they may come in contact with. In the case of antibiotics, it helps us mitigate against the introduction of pathogens, and that's very important to keep the animal system healthy and running right.
Keeping cattle healthy is at the top of the list for every cattleman, whether in a feedlot operation, such as the Beef Marketing Group's location in Great Bend, Kansas, or a cow-calf operation out on a ranch. Cattle producers work in tandem with their veterinarians to ensure antibiotics are used judiciously to maintain healthy cattle.
I believe antibiotics have a place in sound, judicious beef production. We should use them when they're warranted, use them for as long as they're needed, and then move on. The uses we can have for antibiotics in beef production range from therapy of an animal that we've identified as sick, an individual animal, to control of disease in a group where we have some that are sick and we know others are incubating it and are soon to be sick, or prevention where we know a group is at high risk of getting a disease. So as we go through those different uses, it's very important that we know our targets, we know our drug, and we know exactly how to use them.
Many feedlot operators use FDA-approved antibiotics in cattle feed as an option to prevent disease and eliminate problems before they get started.
In our operation, we do feed low-level antibiotics in the feed to get them started up on feed. It helps them from a health standpoint, and that's our objective, to mitigate the challenges that they face when they come in contact with other cattle and in an environment where there is sort of a concentration of animals. And by doing this at a very low level, it helps keep the cattle healthy, and that's what our objective is. So we do it. It's very much under a managed situation. In that case, we use a trained licensed nutritionist that actually makes up the complete rations that we feed to these cattle. They're high quality, very high quality products that are used in the complete ration, and we add vitamins and minerals. And in the case of starting up cattle and getting them right under challenge conditions, we will use a low-level feed grade antibiotics to really help those cattle get off and get to a good start.
From the beginning, calves are at risk for disease, and as they grow, they can pass those diseases from one to another. Cattlemen use a variety of tools like good nutrition, a strong vaccination program, and the judicious use of antibiotics to mitigate and control health risks.
I think that we're a very responsible industry, and as such, I think that the way I look at it, and I seriously do, is that if my children get sick, I want to get them healthy as soon as I can. And in the case of antibiotics, that provides that opportunity in humans and in the cattle that we're responsible for. So I believe that it's actually a benefit to the consumer that we are allowed to use these products to keep these animals healthy so that they can have and be assured that there's a safe and wholesome product made available on their plate.
We're going to treat an animal in our care that's sick. In the systems I work in and the training I give veterinarians is when we have a sick animal, we're going to intervene. Immediately thereafter, our goal becomes how do we prevent having to do that again? And that goes back to the relationship that's decades old between veterinarians and producers of working together to try to prevent the disease. But when we do have an ill animal or we have a group at risk of disease, we want to be able to intervene.
The use of antibiotics to both prevent and treat diseases in cattle is tightly regulated by FDA and guided by veterinarians and strict procedures. It's all based on a wealth of scientific data proving the safety and effectiveness of the products used.
It's hard science. It's not only being with the animals, looking at them, being good stewards of the animals. It's relying on science such as this that's a lot of really expensive equipment, highly trained people working with these animals, determining how the drugs work, where they go. And so when we say that we deliver a safe product to the marketplace, it isn't a hollow statement. There's a lot of science like this backing it up.
I think here at the Beef Marketing Group, this is going to sound a little selfish, but we go above and beyond when it comes to implementing protocols. But the protocols for using products in feed or in therapeutic use or injectables are very tight and very stringent. Most all beef operations use these products under the guidance of a licensed veterinarian. It's very prescribed, it's very regimented, and it's very well monitored.
With oversight from the Food and Drug Administration, the use of antibiotics to protect animal health is closely monitored, from product development and regulatory approval all the way through to their use by veterinarians and producers on the ranch or at the feedlot. In addition, before beef goes to the consumer, it is rigorously tested for drug residues to prevent any entry into the food supply.
All the antibiotics used in beef production are FDA approved. They're approved for food safety, for environmental safety, for safety to the animal, and for effectiveness. It's not like we just throw these things around. The other thing that consumers should really know is that these drugs cost money. And we are at an economic advantage to avoid the use of these, if at all possible, other than the fact that we just don't want to use them because that means that that animal is in a state where it requires them, and we hope to prevent that.
We are a very margin-based business. There's not a lot of flexibility and profitability in the business that we're involved in. So everything that we bring into the animal's production system is evaluated from a cost-benefit standpoint. And antibiotics, animal health products are not cheap. They are very costly and rightly so, because they do a good job for us. But we're very careful about the use of it, the management of the inventory, because that can actually be the difference between breaking even on a set of cattle or losing money.
For producers, having a profitable business is based in large part on the careful use of proven science-based strategies and animal health products to ensure cattle health, welfare, and beef safety to the benefit of consumers around the world. I'm Dave Russell, reporting for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Now, next week, we'll take a closer look at the science behind animal antibiotics and how the federal government approves and monitors their use. To find out more on this issue, visit our website at cattlementocattlemen.org.